Hi, so in the last video we discussed novel protein diets and I mentioned something called an elimination or exclusion diet. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So basically, an elimination or exclusion diet, as the name suggests, is where you cut out loads of things from the diet so that you can then bring them back into the diet one at a time and see what your pet reacts to. But first of all, the first step is to find a diet to put them on. So, step one, you want to put them on a diet with novel proteins, single source proteins, so that the diet only has one type of protein in it. And this can be home cooked food, it could be raw food, dry food, wet food, as long as you're choosing either a novel protein or a hydrolyzed protein and it's single source. The rest of the diet should be kept as simple as possible. So that means minimal ingredients. We want to keep it nice and simple. You'd stay on this diet for about 4 to 6 weeks, or whatever your vet or pet nutritionist suggests, and you have to cut out absolutely everything else. So that's all treats, all tidbits, all table scraps, all rewards or bedtime snacks, all dental chews, absolutely everything. Because if you're still giving loads of other foods and your pet is not improving, whether that's skin or digestive wise, we don't know what is triggering the problem. Now, the ideal is that on the special diet, your pet will improve. And if this happens, you can then get to the stage where you then reintroduce foods one at a time. So you would maybe reintroduce giving them their bedtime biscuit. If after a few days you have seeing no reaction of that, then obviously that contains ingredients that they're not reacting to. But until you're absolutely sure, you wouldn't increase how many things you introduce. So you're just introducing one thing at a time. If they're okay with their bedtime biscuit, you can then introduce something else. And you might introduce a little bit of fresh chicken, for example. And if they're okay with that, then fine. You need to keep a food journal or a food diary while you're doing this so that you can see if you do introduce something new, like a piece of chicken, and the dog starts scratching or the cat starts vomiting, you know that that is what is triggering the reaction. So generally, elimination or exclusion diets would be sort of 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully that one diet will work. If after a few weeks though, the pet is not improving, and this is before you've reintroduced any new foods, then you would need to try a different exclusion diet. So that would be go on to a different novel protein or a different hydrolyzed protein or brand. But during this period, not only do you stick to the same novel protein or hydrolyzed protein, you stick to the same brand and the same flavour. It's got to be exactly the same food throughout that period, so that you can find out exactly what your pet is reacting to. Now, an elimination or exclusion diet is classed as the gold standard for detecting food allergies because blood tests are just not that reliable. So to get a true reliable reading of what your pet's reacting to, it's best to do an elimination diet. It's also really useful because in adverse food reactions, there are different types. So you do get food allergies, but you also get food intolerances. Now, food allergies are what they can do blood tests for, but food intolerances don't involve the immune system. So therefore, you can't do any tests, any diagnostic tests to see if your pet is intolerant to them. So the only way to know is by this elimination or exclusion diet. So I hope this helps, and if you've got any questions on it, then please pop them in the comments below.